Now, Parliament's Education Committee has recommended that the House approves the controversial Public University Bill 2020. Various teacher unions, including Utaks, have kicked against the bill, warning it will give the government unfettered control over university administrators. The bill is expected to undergo second reading today, during which MPs will debate the principles of the bill. Here is how it went down in Parliament as Minority Leader and Education Minister debated the issue.
Utaks, University Teachers Association of Ghana, and I'm sure Mr. Speaker's office have been copied, First Deputy Speaker, Majority Leader, Minister for Education, and it reads, University Teachers Association of Ghana, Utaks, request for information on the status of the Public University Bill, and it reads in part, while waiting to be consulted, we have read news reports that indicate that the bill is to be brought before Parliament when it reconvenes on 14 December 2020. Indeed, a Ghana web story caption, relay PUP, Public University Bill to Parliament without consultation, worrying, unquote. Signed Dr. Samuel Nkupa, President Utaks. Mr. Speaker, I also have University of Ghana Graduate Students Association of Ghana, Lagos. Request for stakeholder engagement on review of Public Universities Bill. It's also signed, and I hope that the Hansard will capture it, Adofu Yao Kwachi, Acting President Grasak, Lagos. And it also reads in part, receive a lot of constructive criticism and recommendations. Then, Mr. Speaker, I also have Student Representative Council, University of Ghana, request to join the discussion on Public Universities Bill. Mr. Speaker, so stakeholder consultation is important to the work we do as Parliament. That is why Article 106 requires that we invite public memorandum. These are stakeholders who are affected by the bill, and therefore an assurance from the Minister for Education that they will be thoroughly engaged and a report of the engagement submitted to Parliament. Other than that, we are unable to support this bill. We want the legitimate concerns of university lecturers, teachers, and students in the governance of public universities to be appropriately covered as we proceed further on this bill. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Agree with the Honourable Minority Leader 100% of the essence and the necessity of consultation as he quoted article of our Constitution. Mr. Speaker, all the three letters stem from the University of Ghana. It is not Utaks National that is writing. And the name he mentioned, Samuel, is the president of Utaks University of Ghana. The current president of Utaks is Professor Charles Marfo of KNUST. So, Speaker, I want to put on record that these three things only came from University of Ghana. 26 public universities who are going to be affected by this bill. So, Speaker, a thorough consultation. So, Speaker, if you even read the title of the request that we brought, said information on the status. They never said they have not been consulted. So, Speaker, your committee chair and committee members are here. In fact, what caused the relaying is the enormity of the proposals the universities brought. That the committee, I was invited, engaged them, and then they decided that because of the voluminous nature, they are going to incorporate it in the original bill, and then they will come and withdraw and relay the bill so that amendments are minimized. Just because your committee members are here on both sides. So it is not about consultation. The Parliament in its own working did advertise for memorandum, and when I did visit the committee, they had received 38 memoranda, so Speaker. 38. 38. And they were all called to the committee to come and testify. Thorough consultation. So, no, I just believe that I'll support the minority leader in saying that those who have brought this, we will invite them. Mr. Speaker, we will invite them. There's nothing to hide in this bill from government. We would invite them, we will listen to them as the committee chairperson, gives a date, by the close of this weekend, that meeting should have happened, and we will duly bring a report. But like their protest, it is not about consultation. It is they are requesting for information on the status of the bill. If you read the whole letter, they talk about, thank you,
And that is the Education Minister there. We'll be connecting with Joseph Opoku-Gakpo shortly from Parliament via Zoom. But Professor Charles Mafo is the National President Utaks, who is joining us right now. So we talk about this before we go to Parliament again. Prof, thank you very much. Now, first, let's take a look at your concerns and whether those issues have been addressed. Before I even come there, the Minister said that your concerns are not really about consultation, and that they are about information on the status.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. I mean, at this point, semantics becomes kind of a game. Whatever it is, Utaks had met the Parliamentary Select Committee on Education earlier. And we had, as he said, extensive deliberations, our concerns, and we were assured that the AG will look at the document, and I'm sure the public has seen Utaks memo to the Parliamentary Select Committee on Education. We were assured that when review has been done and the Select Committee had considered our document, then the document will be sent back for us to peruse. Right? So as we speak, Utaks National was just waiting for such a document until we heard that there's a schedule in Parliament and that the bill is being considered on its way to be passed. And we were flabbergasted, you know, we were surprised, we were disappointed. Because as we speak, we don't know what is in the bill that they are seeking to pass. But if you look at our memo, we have made it clear that the bill in its current state is inimical to academic freedom, and in fact, unconstitutional. Somebody should review such a bill. Let us peruse it, get ourselves satisfied before they can move on to do anything. And so, my dear, as it is now, we don't know what they are going to pass.
Okay.
And obviously, we don't support it.
Okay. You don't know what is going to be passed and you don't support it. Let's take a look at, if you can give me a brief idea of what was in there, that's the specific thing in there that you didn't like or that you thought was unconstitutional and inimical to the country's education system.
We have said it again and again. And again, as I said, our memo to Parliamentary Select Committee on Education is commonplace. Every media house probably have it by now. But one of them I can immediately recall and tell you is the constitution of the Council of the Universities, right? As it is now, the council is populated by government appointees. And so basically they are saying that we should come and run the university from the office of the government of the day. And we have said that that is wrong, right? If any review has been done to that, we should know. We should begin to sensitize our people. Mind you, as we speak, there is a section of our people that are even calling for the trashing of the bill, not to even consider our recommendations. Utaks National has been on the forefront trying to, you know, because knowing that government comes with power and normally they have an agenda and then they want to pass some bills, we take cognizance of that, and so we wanted to own the bill. And that is why we made extensive considerations, recommendations, so that the Parliamentary Select Committee and Parliament itself will consider them. To such an extent that anything that will be at the disadvantage of the running of public universities will be removed from the bill. That is why I said, as it is, we don't know what they are debating about. We don't know which bill Parliament is debating about.
Apart from your
promise, we expect the Parliamentary Select Committee to give us the current status of the bill,
which hasn't been done. So that was what I was coming to. Apart from the Select Committee, have you had any engagement with the ministry? Perhaps the information could have come from there.
Excuse me, there was a break somewhere.
Yeah, I'm asking if you have had any engagement with the ministry itself, apart from the Parliamentary Select Committee on Education.
I must say that we have collaborated very well with the minister in charge. He has always been cooperative until now. And now means that as we speak, we don't know the document they are debating. Okay. But as promised, we were supposed to be given that document. So as we start, if a colleague lecturer asks me of the bill, and in fact, I must put in this, sections of our people are putting across certain document, which was released in 20th February 2020, which is still inimical to our state. And so they are saying that that is the document that is being debated. But we wanted to believe that we had made recommendations to all those things that are still in the document that are flying around. And I must say this, I spoke to the minister. He told me that document that is flying around is not it, and that he will send us the document. We are waiting for that document. And until that, Madam, as you rightly pointed out, we will spend every life in us to keep academic freedom. We will fight it at every point in time.
And that was going to be my last question. You will fight it, and you're obviously fighting it already, but the bill is in Parliament, and it's been debated as we speak. What is your next line of action?
Well, next line of action is what we are probably doing now. They've heard us. It is not passed yet. I can say that the Russians have beaten it, but have not taken it in. They can reconsider their situation. Again, if you revisit our memo to Parliamentary Select Committee, we indicated the various escape routes we can take. That we can go to the Supreme Court. But of course, I know you know Utaks. We have always resorted to our last arsenal. And at this point in the education, where COVID has taken a greater part of the academic calendar, and that we are beginning to even reschedule our times, I don't think anybody wants to commit Utaks into pursuing any course. Again, that will be inimical to the academic calendar. Please, we urge them to listen. The president said there should be broader consultation. That broader consultation must be done. There must not be any hurry to pass any law.
Okay.
Those of us that affect us are speaking, and we believe that government should listen.
Before I let you go, Prof, is there any one good thing about this bill that you can point to?
One good thing about this bill?
Yeah.
Well, if you ask me, I think those that are trying to implement that should be able to tell you. But honestly, to tell you, some people have said that we draw from the same basket, right? And so if a government says that, look, even on your promotion, I want you to be promotion along the same line or system, I don't think that would be bad at all. That is why I said that Utaks did not just reject the bill, despite the fact that a section of our population think we should trash it. We have made recommendations.
And you want to see whether those recommendations have been incorporated?
Yes, I wish you have seen our document.
All right.
We took every clause and dissected it. Everybody should know, any person will know that we love this nation, we love education, and we want the right things to be done.
Right.
And I say again, let those that have ears listen.
Prof, we say a very big thanks for your time this afternoon, and I'm sure that we will be looking forward to that part of the document which you have that is not available to the rest of the public. Hopefully that will help us appreciate the situation better. Professor Charles Ofosu-Marfo is the National President for University Teachers Association of Ghana. So what does the report of the Education Committee actually say? Joseph Opoku-Gakpo is our man on the ground in Parliament. He's joining me right now live to tell us more. Joseph, I've just spoken to Utaks, and they say that they made recommendations, but they don't know whether or not that recommendation they made has been incorporated in what is being debated right now. What can you tell us from there?
We're getting some explanation from the committee that some of the concerns that they had raised earlier are actually being addressed to a certain extent. So, for example, according to the committee, The concern about the president appointing too many members on the university council, they've tried to rectify that a bit. Apart from the institutional representation, the president will only appoint the chairman of the council and 5 others, bringing that figure to 6, and then allowing for a lot of other institutions to appoint various members onto the council, thereby to a certain extent limiting the authority of the president. Again, one thing that we are clearing our minds on is that here in Parliament, there is generally a consensus on both the sides of the majority and the minority that this be passed until the minority leader raised the issue with non-consultation. So, for example, if you read the reports of the Education Committee that came to the House, the committee's report makes the point that the committee is recommending that the House adopt this particular bill. And then the committee goes on to say that they are convinced this bill will actually reform the education sector and improve it for the better. It will further improve admission processes and create equal opportunities for all. And it will also standardize the governance across various academic institutions as far as the university is concerned. As indicated by the minister, the planned meeting that's coming off latest by this weekend is where they're hoping that additional consultation will happen. What the House did today was to go through what they call the second reading of the bill, where they discuss the principles. Now, when the bill actually came to the House, it was referred to the Education Committee. We know that previous versions had come in and withdrawn. The latest version came in sometime in early November, just before the House actually went on its last break. It was referred to the Education Committee. The Education Committee has returned with 3 specific amendments to the bill, apart from which they're recommending that the House goes ahead and approve it. And from what we're hearing from the Education Minister, and particularly the Education Committee, that additional consultation will be done before the end of the week. And then going into next week, they'll return to go ahead and do the necessary amendments to the original documents, after which it will eventually be approved by the House for it to become law going forward.
Now, it is still unclear from what you said, Joseph, whether or not the recommendations made by the Utaks and other stakeholders have actually been incorporated. It's still difficult to tell at this point, isn't it?
The committee insists that a lot of those specific recommendations have actually been incorporated, including putting some form of cap on the number of people who will actually represent on the governing council as far as appointment by the president is concerned. One other concern that came up, which was not specifically addressed, has to do with the fact that there is a recommendation in this particular bill that any time a university wants to go ahead and dispose of a property, or for that matter go for a loan to undertake any property development on the campus, approval needs to be sought from the government of the day. That is something that we know remains in this particular document. And Education Minister Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh has been defending that. We've been engaging him, and his defense of that is that anytime we have situations where any individual or any university goes ahead and contracts a loan and it becomes a bad debt, it's the government that pays. So government actually needs to have a role to a certain extent when some of these loans have been taken. One other concern that had come up, which again the minority, particularly Bernard Ahiafo, who is a lawyer and he serves on the Education Committee, is raising, is that per this latest provision, when the university does something that is wrong, they cannot be sued as a corporate institution. He questions how come the university has been established as a corporate institution, but there is a law barring action being taken against it, either by a staff or a lecturer or any other individual or even outsiders, which he thinks is very much out of place. These are provisions that are remaining in the bill, except that all government is doing is explaining it away and defending the provisions. From what we heard from Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh, the concerns that are coming specifically from the folks at the University Teachers Association of Ghana, at the University of Ghana. And he went on to say there are more than 26 public institutions. All of them have virtually bought into the idea, and that the objection that's coming from one university cannot be a basis for which the bill should be thrown away. But as we're hearing from Utaks now, it appears to be a general consensus. But looks like we will know more when the said consultations happen. In fact, Peter Nochu, who is the ranking on the Education Committee, confirmed that as early as tomorrow, the first batch of consultation is likely to happen right here in Parliament when the Education Committee meets various institutions and stakeholders connected with this bill to begin dotting the I's and crossing the T's as far as their contents are concerned, so that sometime next week they'll go ahead and make the necessary amendments and get it approved, hopefully before Parliament takes its break on December 22.
I just want to find out if anything else happened in Parliament. Certainly, yesterday was one of the most interesting. Hopefully, there's something else to report in terms of how, the dynamics are playing out there right now. What else can you report?
Things are looking a lot more calm. Today, a lot of the minority MPs showed up in Parliament, not exactly wearing black in ordinary attire, although a number of them, including Samuel Ekujeto-Ablakwa and Ato Forsen, still came clad in their black. But it looks like this time around, the heat is dying down a bit. Business of the House commenced sometime after midday. The House has been dealing with the insurance bill, which they dealt with sometime yesterday as well. The public-private partnership bill has been introduced in the House that they are looking at. And as we speak, the House is still sitting considering various bills, and they would continue sitting going into tomorrow. We've been having a conversation on the sites on the sites of Parliament with some members of Parliament, again in relation to how governance in the House will be going into the next Parliament. Ibrahim Ahmed, who is the MP for Banda, who has won the seat, but we have some agitation against his victory, for example, has been speaking to the media, describing this Parliament as the weakest Parliament virtually in the history of the nation, and him expecting that the 8th Parliament will be a bit more stronger and will do a lot more in terms of putting government on its toes.
Joseph, thank you very much for that update. Interesting details from Parliament. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo there joining us live from Parliament.